Okay, I don't totally remember what happened because I went to bed. Is there any way we can like see? Oh right, we just came out of like the whole past thing. Okay. Rosa's hands were over her head. She pressed herself into a corner, panting. She had never heard Mother this loud before. Take revenge. This one was so loud it rattled around her skull and made her vision blur. Mother, what more do you want? The spell is already. She bent her head down, black spots creeping into the edge of her vision. She was so tired. You cannot hide anything from me. What is this doubt you are nursing? You are hesitating. You are crafting another spell. You stupid harlot. That filthy Marquis is exactly the kind of monster I have been warning you about. You dare plan behind my back? I... I just don't want to kill any more, Mother. She couldn't help but answer back this time. How could she not? After years filled with love and acceptance, it made her realize all the more how precious life was. The thought of snuffing out somebody else's life sent a detestable shiver through her bones. She had planned on running away from this place, abandoning whatever duty that now fell into her hands. Why was it her duty anyway? She just wanted to take the good memories of this place and taint them no longer. By the way, people never play things during like the day or whatever. I never see people like there's no oh so and so is playing this. It doesn't happen. But when I start recording, people start playing things. Fine. Whatever truth she sought wasn't enough payment for peace. I don't want to. Her voice shook. I don't want to kill him, Mother. I don't want to kill anyone, please. Is this cowardice or stupidity? You fancy him, don't you? You hate him, don't you? I kinda hate him. If I'm being perfectly honest, I kinda hate him. You hate him, don't you? Look deep into your heart and you will find it, child. As there is deep love, there is burning hate. A hate so strong it compels to end a life. Yes, darling, let it burn in you. This is fire that consumes the same way. Channel it, use it. No, please. Rosa's head began to throb and a vile sickness spread through her stomach. He took everything away from you, darling. He took Catherine. He will not stop. He needs to be punished. With this final proclamation, Rosa was struck to the floor. The feeling of fainting was stronger than ever. Alone in the dark, she lay there, panting like a sick dog, waiting for what would come next. Bellamy killed me. He made me love him, and then he betrayed me. He deserves death. Only you can kill him. I can't kill him. It's what I want. Who's talking there? That's not true. It is. You're my best friend, Rosa, so this is like Catherine for some reason? Friends avenge each other, don't they? My darling daughter, I could always count on you to do the right thing. So kill him. Kill Guillaume. Kill him. Promise me. Make him suffer. Stab him with a knife. Ha 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 ha. Stick a dagger down his throat. Gouge his eyes out. Take revenge. Rosa clutched her head so hard she thought her skull would burst. For a long moment she lay as though she were dead. 5 minutes. 10 minutes passed. Then, in the middle of the empty room, Rosa's voice rang out as clear as a bell. I understand. Ooh, we gonna kill Guillaume. Guillaume? I don't fucking know how to say his name, I hate it. Rosa knocked on Guillaume's door, carrying a tray of food. She had been poisoning his meals in small doses for weeks now, taking note of any ill effects it yielded. There had been none. Guillaume was still as fit and as healthy as ever. No symptoms at all, even after she had increased the dosage. Either he hadn't eaten anything for a month, or he was immune to poison. Both possibilities were suspect. Rosa knocked again. There was no response from the other side of the door. It may have worked. It was not a total loss, however. She remembered Catherine mentioning how particular Guillaume was with his sleep. Just as she had been about to give up, she had ventured on this hunch. It was true. Gwilymie was curiously rather sensitive to sedatives. Rosa had offered rose tea to Gwilymie that afternoon under the guise that she had made a new recipe. It had been laced with opium and valerian, sweetened with honey to mask the taste. Whether or not it was the casting of Philia, he had drunk it without a second thought. He had retired early that evening. Rosa noted the grogginess visible in his gait. She snuck the master key this evening. Tonight is her night. Rosa pushed the door to his room open. It took a couple of seconds for her eyes to adjust to the darkness. It felt like a different world inside this room. By closing the door, it was as if she had cut herself off from the living. Rosa took an unsure step once she found her bearings. She placed the tray of food on the nearest flat surface, careful not to make any noise. The candle she lit provided little comfort. It seemed to cower from the intimidating blanket of shadows. Rosa heaved. The air felt humid here, the atmosphere almost stale. Now that she was inside and venturing deeper, a sudden impulse to find the door gripped her. She looked back. It seemed farther away. Why was she so anxious? She had been in this room before. It was perfectly normal. Tonight, it was a different story. The room seemed to breathe. Rosa gulped. What a curious word. There was no other way to describe it, though. The flickering shadows made it seem like the walls were respiring around her. The room felt alive. It was asleep like its owner, but alive. In the dim light of her candle, the red carpet looked like flesh. The furnishings were viscera. It didn't feel like she entered a room at all, but a belly. Something darted in the corner of her eye. Rosa snapped her head. Just a curtain. Rosa let out the breath she was holding in her chest, aware with every move her body made. She tiptoed towards the canopy. It was perhaps the highlight of the room, an organic monstrosity of red plush and velvet. From afar, it didn't look like a bed at all, but a cage. If the room was a cavern of meat, then this was its heart. Rosa approached. Every muscle in her body was tense. She could see a figure sprawled on the bed, limbs sticking out clumsily. He was lying on his chest, back bare, clothes littering the floor. Gwilymie seemed to have fallen into the bed instead of climbing in. One of his arms stuck out from the mattress. His breath was fitful but slow, a light snore coming from him. What's that? Rosa looked around for the source of the noise, but the room was still. A slow trickle of sweat traced her spine. Did that come from the window? Should she check? Rosa didn't move. Something was in the room with her. She could feel it. She stole a glance at Gwilymie. He hadn't moved from the bed. Rosa's ears tried to pick up the faintest noise. It felt like hours of her staying frozen on that spot, wishing to blend with the darkness. There was no one there. She had probably imagined it. She took a deep breath and calmed herself down. The sooner she was out of this room, the better. Philia's effect would diminish once the candle died. After that, she might not have another chance. She had to find out more about him tonight. The thought of her goal helped steel her nerves. Where should she begin? She took a step. Rosa darted her head, looking for the source of the skittering noise. Her ears were too sensitive now. She heard every creak and moan in the room. She took a deep breath. Focus. Rosa surveyed everything. There was a book by Gwilymie's bedside table. It was only a couple of steps away, but she'd have to come dangerously close to the bed. As much as she could, she'd rather maintain the distance between her and the creature on the bed. Creature? Why did she think that? Perhaps it was the arrangement of the sheets, or the shadows playing their tricks, but Rosa shook her head. Perhaps there was another place to look? We've come here to gather information. You should check the book. Rosa sighed. Mother was right. She had to check every source to be sure. She inched herself closer to the bed. The faint candlelight indicated that the book on the bedside was red. It wasn't the journal she had seen Gwilymie write in. Rosa tiptoed her way closer. Gwilymie's hand dangled mere inches away. She reached her arms towards the book and swiped it noiselessly. The candle almost went out with her sigh. She backed up from the bed with the book under her arm. Adrenaline surged in her blood. It almost made her smile. Rosa examined her prize, a book in a foreign language. She remembered seeing such thin, obscure characters somewhere. She wasn't sure which country, but it was probably Asian. She flipped the book and saw a piece of parchment folded on one of the pages. A sailing permit for a barge named La Victoria, dated for the end of the month, 2 days from now. It outlined the cargo and the purposes of the trip with no date of return. Traveling? No, leaving. Willoughby was planning to leave. This was a suspicion she had had since she had started observing him. His sudden aloofness with the town affairs, the secret purchase of a ship, the decrease of servants in his employ. Now it was confirmed. It's just as well we found this. We must end it tonight before he has a chance to escape. Although it was a good thing to confirm this suspicion, the fact helped her little. If anything, it just made it even more urgent to find something tonight. She had to continue. Rosa steadied herself and stepped back to the bed. Her hand finally brushed against the wood of the table after some quiet fumbling. She caught sight of something shiny inside the drawer. "Open it, child." Rosa pulled the drawer open ever so slightly. Oops. She peeked inside. Inside was an ornate dagger with a golden hilt, set in with rubies. An old, delicate pattern was carved in on its blade. There was a heat emanating from it, almost like it was alive, like the rest of the room. She almost missed it in the dim light, but there was also a key in the same cabinet. Let's take the key. Take the key and leave that dagger. I have a bad feeling about that weapon. Me too. Leave it be. Rosa agreed with Mother. The weapon was as sinister as it was beautiful. She didn't want to touch it. Rosa took the tiny key into her hand, feeling the cool metal against her palm. She pushed the drawer back. Willoughby shifted. Rosa blew the candle out. She scuttled behind the small table. It barely hid her. Willoughby had changed positions in his sleep. Now his face was in full view and facing her direction. Ooh, this is fucking creepy. That's such a creepy thing to imagine. Rosa's heart banged in her chest. It was so loud she was concerned the room might echo the sound and announce her intrusion. Rosa waited for a few minutes before moving. She decided to crouch down, holding the unlit candle close to her chest. Easy now. She shuffled away from the bed in relief. The candle was dead, but her eyes were now well adjusted to the darkness. She could make out a desk in the furthest part of the room. He must do most of his writing here. There is a huge chance the journal is near. It wasn't very dignifying, but Rosa decided to crawl towards it. Now that Gwilym's face was in full view, a flutter of the eyelid was all it would take to catch her. It would be better to minimize her risks. She dropped to her knees and placed her palms on the floor. She drew her hand back. Yeah, what the fuck was that noise? Was she imagining it? When her palms touched the floor, it felt warm. Wet. Her fingers were sucked into the floor as if she touched soft, pulpy flesh. The hallucination was so strong that her nose detected a spray of iron in the air. Her stomach heaved. She rubbed her hand. There was no wetness or blood anywhere. The floor was solid. It must have been her imagination. Rosa touched the floor warily, patting it and pulling on the carpet fibers. Just a normal carpet. Rosa let out slow, small breaths as she started to move once more. She padded her way to the desk. Every time her skin came into contact with the floor, bile rose up in her throat. It took some effort to resist the urge to gag. Finally, the desk was directly in front of her. She looked back at the bed. From this angle, it was hard to tell if Gwilym had moved. She hoped that the big desk also hid her in its shadows. Rosa rummaged. There was no trace of the book on the tabletop. She only found a pot of ink, loose sheets of paper, and a quill. That damn thing had to be close. She opened the first shelf and found a stack of papers. Nothing. She shuffled through them, but the drawer didn't have the journal. She looked through the second drawer, and the third. There was nothing of interest. Finally, she pulled on the last drawer. It was locked. Oh, we got a key! Rosa sucked the air through her teeth. Of course it's locked. How could I have been so stupid? Rosa slumped into a depressed heap. Rosa, you literally just picked up a key mere minutes ago. It's fine. The key. Yeah. Rosa looked at the key in her hand. She slid it into the hole and heard the lock click. A deep feeling of relief washed over her. The drawer slid open. You know, Gwilym's kind of dumb, like... I mean, wouldn't you... I mean, he's always wearing those, like, semi-open shirts, but, like, he could just have a necklace and hang the key on it. And I know that means it puts it, like, at risk of just falling off. It, like, breaking and falling off and him losing the key. But, like, at least then it would be on his person and not just in the drawer on the other side of the room. I just don't think that's a very good place to hide it, so I think he's kind of dumb. But I hope that's intentional. The drawer slid open. Rosa looked inside. There it was. In her eyes, the green journal was a treasure. She lifted the book from its resting place. It was heavier than she expected. Rosa smiled. She ran her hands along the velvet cover of the book, savoring the texture. At last, she had it. Child. Mother's voice was riddled with anxiety. Something is wrong. Her excitement had clouded her senses. Oh fuck, this is so creepy! Almost at once, she felt the change in the air. Everything was... still. Her stomach shrunk into its cavity. Fresh sweat broke out on her scalp. This silence. It had weight. It pressed on her skin and made the air thin in her lungs. Rosa stood up. She had to leave. Now. Rosa shuffled her way out of the room. With every step, her legs seemed to stick uncomfortably to the floor. Slowed her movement. One more step. Her whole foot felt like sinking. She held onto a chair and staggered back. It was throbbing. Musty and red, alive and without skin. The air was filled with the unmistakable stench of fresh meat. Rosa ran to the door. She didn't care that the handle seemed to curl around her fingers. She pushed the door open and spilled into the corridor. Rosa fell to her knees while she heard the door close behind her. It almost felt like the door closed by itself. In her confusion, she couldn't be sure. Rosa's heart pounded heavily in her ribs. Just looking at the doorway of the room made her skin crawl. Rosa gathered her wits and stared at the journal in her hand. She hoped it would contain the information they needed. I mean, she took it, but how is she going to get it back? In the warm, dim light of the library, Rosa opened the journal's cover. Oh, we're just continuing on. I've gotten used to it, like, switching back and forth in time, which is an interesting choice, but I also think it's a bit confusing. In the warm, dim light of the library, Rosa opened the journal's cover. She wasn't too surprised to find that a number of entries were written in different tongues. The dates jumped from decade to decade. The writing spanned centuries. Another suspicion validated. Gwilym was not human, or at least he did not have a normal human lifespan. This discovery made Rosa search her mind for her date of birth. It distressed her that she could not remember. She shook her head and turned back to the journal. Despite the multitude of languages, the first entry was translated into several languages. For sentimental reasons, perhaps? Or maybe a feeble attempt at reminiscing a more innocent time. I am learning to write. Aelia gave me paper. I like Aelia. She wants me to call her mother. She smells like oranges. She says I am a gift from the goddess. I don't know any goddesses. Aelia calls me Rai. I guess that is my name now. It is nice to have a name. Rosa didn't have a name either. The other preceding pages were still in a different language. Rosa flipped through the pages until she came upon one she could read. They call me Eros, a god, a divine. They don't understand what I am. They either build me statues or spit at my feet. I am a muse, I am a blight, a symbol, but I am not the answer. Seems ironic, isn't it, that love craves love above all? That which I need, that which I am, poisons me to the point I am sick of its taste. 6th of May. I see it in the way people look at me, the way they act around me. Some would, of course, think of me as blessed. I have youth, health, and the gift of being loved. But I found out that these gifts are curses as well. My youth forces me to always wander. My looks guarantee that I will always stand out. And love? The very same urge that blesses me quickly turns rabid, yet I understand why. Oh, love, we all crave it, don't we? In the end, we are all drunk on the idea that only love could heal our brokenness. They all think I am this cure. But I keep hoping there might be something else besides this twisted sentiment. There must be, mustn't there? Rosa read the words and found them tugging at her heart. This was the same feeling she had had for years. It almost seemed like the words were her own. I know I'm not supposed to be writing this, God forgive me. I do not want to write it down. If I do, it will be the truth. Oh Lord, please forgive me. I didn't mean to do it. I just wanted to stop hurting. I'm hiding now. I slashed my face and cut my hair so they would not recognize me. Pain. Pain is good. A penance. Oh Lord, please. If there is a God listening, please strike me down. Well, this is extremely familiar. I just need to take a little sip. Okay, bad memories began to surface in Rosa's mind. Desperation, a cornered animal that fought back. It reminded her of her own sins. Her hands were drenched in red. And yet here she was, planning to kill another man. She'd killed before? Like, where is this coming from? I don't remember her killing. Has she ever killed to our knowledge? This had been her goal all along, hadn't it? That same familiar guilt began to stir in her mind. Bit her lip. Rosa skipped some entries. Most of them were garbled, almost incomprehensible. They were written in old ink, faded and unloved. Still, though they were melancholic, they painted a picture of a man with sufficient black humour to keep sane. 28th of November. The plague has confirmed my suspicions that I do not die from sickness. I don't know how to feel about that. Everyone is dead, but on the bright side, everyone is dead. 7th of June, 1489. This dude is old. For decades I have searched for something in this life and I am always disappointed by transience. What am I looking for? Meaning? Hope? Love? Death, maybe? I can bleed. Wounds to the heart heal slower than the rest of my body. I think I may die if wounded enough. I have tried that. There was a time when seeing myself bleed was the only reminder that I am not numb. Yet my body does not form scars, no matter how many times I draw my knife. Like any sign of age or ugliness, they all fade. A wrinkle today, gone the next, as if my body isn't even my own to brand. That is a shame. I want to mar my body so badly that anyone who sees me will flee. But I have tried that too. People are crueler when you are ugly. Why is that? Why do they feel the need to punish you simply because you are detestable? Perhaps because they can, or perhaps because it is easy to be cruel to those which do not belong. I don't belong. It would be nice to disappear one day. There it is. There is confirmation that he can be killed. Though he bleeds like everyone else, but heals enough not to die. A strike to the heart. If we find a way to leave this wound open, perhaps he can be exterminated. Rosa continued reading. Another feeling was starting to grow in her chest. She began to question her cause the more she read through the journal. I have been staying in the old March farm. They are good people. They invited me to eat with them, and it was in the warmth of their fire that I knew then that I must leave. I will only destroy their happiness. For the briefest of moments, I was able to experience what it is like to be part of a family, not an outsider, but accepted. Little Sissy has taken a liking to me, though. Children are curious creatures. They are a constant reminder to humans of their own impending death, their own weakness and mortality. Yet people keep making them. One may wonder why, but it is not difficult to understand. It is the tantalizing thought, the hope, that no matter your past mistakes, you were able to make something pure at one point. Watch it grow, watch it live. Such a poor thing, looking up to you for love and care. It is both power and vulnerability, both selfish and selfless. Curious thing indeed. Rosa shuffled through more pages and saw a different penmanship in one such entry. It caught her eye. January Sure, new century. I like it. I smell change in the air. It is so much easier to lie when you have the means. Trading is a good sport. My name nowadays is Baron Eric Daubshire? Daubshire? Okay. How could I have forgotten mankind's paralyzing obsession with titles? Names have power, titles have power. I simply bought a horse and good robes and introduced myself as such. Everyone fawned over it. I could get used to this. The taste is refreshing. I must plan this better next time. A background, a story. People love stories. Maybe I shall be an actor next. 27th of March. Cretins everywhere. Human nature stays the same. The powerful will take advantage of the damned. So it is all the struggle for control. Is that all there is? I have thought it would be different somehow. In a learned class, in a different era. What was I expecting? Fortunately, I am already well acquainted. The next entry's penmanship was scratchy and difficult to read. 1st of December. I am tired of this life. It is all an endless cycle and I can't stand the taste of this any longer. Love turns to ash in my mouth. I'm trying to stop. I want to stop. It is my 7th day without consuming anything other than normal food. It barely grazes the bottom of my stomach. I want to see if I will die without eating love. I am sick of this. Now you know what he is, Rosa. He consumes love. I do not know exactly what he is, but he is a monster. A demon. Didn't I tell you? I felt it in my bones. Come on, we're going to read more. Perhaps there might be more. 4th of December. This is my 10th day without it, and I am still alive. Barely. I can't even see where I am writing anymore. I am so weak. My body is in pain. Am I dying? I'm afraid. After all my whining, I still want life. Isn't that funny? I am sleeping again. Sleep is the only thing that sustains me. It is dangerous for me to linger in sleep's domain, especially when I have not eaten. I have to keep writing. It's the only way to tell my mind it's still my own. Maybe I should find something. I can't take it anymore. So that was why he fell so easily for the sedatives. That is not all. Perhaps we can destroy him this way as well. He is most vulnerable right now. If we attack now, he won't be able to put up any defenses. 12th of February. I have rewritten all of my entries into a new journal. I have kept some that were close to my heart. I don't know why I still keep writing. Perhaps this journal is my will to live. I look back on it and it reminds me of the years I have endured. Sometimes I have a suspicion that this is my only reason. This perverse obsessive compulsion to hoard time. Years, names. It can't end because it's such a shame. It is almost time to leave again. 19th of August, he arrived in France. My ship arrived in France today. I plan to settle in a smaller town. I am sick of the taste of instant gratification. Maybe I will try a different approach next time. I need to blend in with the citizens first. My French needs work. 29th of June. 29th of June. Oh, so this is way in the future. Why do I keep doing this to myself? I shouldn't care so much. It always ends up broken or destroyed. I never learn. I should leave before. The entry was not finished and some fresh pages were torn out of the book. Even if there were no names mentioned, Rosa felt that the last entry was for Catherine. There were more entries that she didn't explore, but she decided to close the book. She had read enough for now. Ooh. The incomplete journal. Well, I didn't get the choice to read more. Rosa's hands were shaking by them. A growing feeling of understanding came over her. His thoughts were too much like her own. They were too similar. Willoughby consumes love. Rosa remembered the taste in her mouth when she had kissed Catherine. There was something else in that kiss. A boundless flavour that coated her mouth and made her realise how hungry she was. The same night that Catherine began to change. Rosa's throat throbbed. The thumping felt like it resonated through her whole body. Rosa fell to her knees. That same feeling of dread began to rise up in her throat. The mere mention of the thought seemed to summon the feeling in her chest. She gagged. Did I taste Catherine's love that night? then that means that I am also... Mother? Am I the same? She hastily pulled out the locket that Gwilymie had given her previously. It was still as difficult to open as before, but right now, Rosa was armed with a terrifying conclusion. She struggled with the damn thing until she thought her nails would peel off her fingers. The pendant popped open, revealing a yellowing portrait inside. Oh, finally figured it out, have you? Do you see it now? Do you see why Mother wants his punishment? My child, he is a monster. The very thing I stopped you from becoming. Don't you see? I saved you. I stopped you from feeding on other people's love. Is Gwilymie her dad? No. No. I didn't want you to be filthy. Mother's love is all you need. You have learnt enough. Now you know what to do. Kill him. He is what I have feared the most, Rosa. He must perish. Rosa's face contorted into worry. The discovery of Gwilymie's identity shook her to her core, but it also made her feel the burden of their years together. Perhaps the understanding of his pain as well. Must we really do this, Mother? You still have doubts after everything you have learned? No, but this knowledge just makes me want to... You stupid child, can't you see it is what should be done? Do it for me? You must do it for me. For my peace. Is it really? It is easy to say that, but what do you really want? To destroy him. Kill him. I mean, I'm assuming that what we saw was that he's her dad or something? I don't know. I genuinely don't know what the fuck she saw in the locket. I'm so confused. Are you really this daft child? He devours the minds of those that love him. I cannot think of a more disgusting creature. We must destroy him. It needs to be done. He needs to pay for the victims of his curse. But is this really the right thing? Is death the only way to change him? I mean, I guess not. Maybe not, but must we risk it? He has become haughty and powerful. Soon enough, this power will drive him mad. Am I not like him, Mother? I am also a monster. We are the same. No, you're not. You are not a monster. I have raised you, guided you, and loved you enough. All my sacrifices were for you, to stop you from turning into something like him. Oh, I was always afraid. Yeah, he has to be her dad. That makes things very weird. Okay. Always, always, but you are my dear daughter. He may be a monster, but you are not. Because of me. Because of a mother's love for her child. Now that you know his true face, there is only one thing to do. Kill him. No. No. I think he can change. Perhaps I might still be able to save him. I don't think, why would he listen? What makes you think he will listen to you? He has fed for centuries. His addiction is his own curse. It controls him. Yes, but isn't he a creature of love? So am I. Love, no matter how lonely and depraved, always gives all of itself. Only I can understand. Only I can save him. That is why I want to try. What do you intend to do? The spell cannot be reversed now. It is dangerous to leave it unfinished. I will light Agape and make him remember. Will that even work? What if it doesn't work, child? Agape is a blessing, not a curse. A monster of his caliber will only shrug it off. And what will become of you then? Please don't do this. Trust in me, Mother. I will do the right thing. You? What could you possibly hope to do, you dumb child? You are ignorant, naive, just a brainless, dangerously idealistic girl with her head up in books and fiction. There is no happy ending in this life, you worm. Oh, you bring me so much pain. I should have abandoned you years ago. You cannot hurt me any longer, Mother. I know that you love me. You are my memory. As such, I want to remember you as the one person who loved me with her whole heart, not the tainted woman who abused me. It is my fault you act this way. Your voice is my own insecurities and my own pain. Now, not anymore. How dare you degrade me into an apparition? I am real. Listen to me. You have called me a good person before. You believe in me, don't you, Mother? You have guided me well. Believe in me. Believe that I am doing the right thing. I love you so much, but I cannot follow all your wishes anymore. Let me make my own decisions from now on. Bias, my darling, I know you're strong now, but please, are you not going to avenge me? Wouldn't you do that for me? Revenge? Is that really what you want? Will that give you the peace you seek? Yeah, sure, why not? Of course. I want him to suffer as much as I have suffered. All those years of torment, my pain during my last moments, I want him to pay. I do not think that is what you really want. What? You are part of me, Mother. You do not want vengeance, just as Catherine and I do not. You simply crave punishment. You crave atonement. How dare you say that? Is it not true? Darling, what will become of me now without my role to guide you? Can you really make it on your own? Of course, Mother. I will still listen to you and love you, but my mind is clear. I am capable. I will save him whether you allow me to or not. Why? Why are you making an effort to save him, after all that he has done? Because I am all that he has left. But you have seen what he really is. You have seen his true, ugly face. We are all ugly. I want to believe there is something worth saving in him as well. After all, Mother, where would I be if you had not seen the beauty in me, too? I'm sorry, Mother. I know you hate him from the bottom of your heart, but I have already forgiven him, like how I have already forgiven you. Okay, I understand. I cannot stop you from feeling this way, can I? I will try to save him from himself because that's what I am supposed to do. Perhaps that is the reason why I was sent his way. I got to spend years with him and have memories of him. He taught me how to be strong. He got to watch me grow into this strength. It is more than I can ask. You do know that he does not feel the same way for you. He does not love you, child. Yes. That makes me better than him, because I love him without asking for anything in return. A concept that has never yet crossed his mind. Go for it. So be it. Just know that he is powerful and full of pride. He will not take kindly to being bound by magic. We can only hope, Mother. Please take care of yourself. I am always here in your memories, my dear. Whatever happens, please take care of yourself. Thank you, Mother. My beautiful daughter. Yo, I love you. We got 2 achievements. The talk and the promise. What in me is dark? Was that supposed to say what's in me is dark? No light, but rather darkness visible. But that is not me. What is in me is not me. I fought with it, lived with it, survived. Yet we become what we subdue. If this is true, then I was never myself. I am not a monster. Then what are you? Tired. Did you even really love me? Or were you just hungry? It is hard to divide that line sometimes. Hunger hovers over every action I take. Maybe I was bored. That's sweet of you, Gilly, truly marvelously classy. What are you doing in my dream, Catherine? I came to punch you in the face, you fucking bastard. And then, perhaps, say goodbye. Pain wells up in my throat and I answer it with anger. Goodbyes are pointless. I have no need for them. You're just another voice in my conscience that will fade away in time. No, I am not. You're still a bastard, mind you, but I love you still. And I loved you. But does that matter now? I will love another one quite like you in the future. You know, I can always tell when you're lying to me. Your mouth does that little twitch, and your nose flares up like you smell something bad. The man you knew is gone. He was nothing but an illusion you yourself designed, my dear. I only adapt. Then why do you still do it? How can I still tell you're lying? I'm not, liar. You were holding a telescope. I don't see it. Sagittarius is over there. I laughed, pointing your hand to the night sky. Beneath this blanket of stars, the brightest one was sitting right beside me. Would you believe me if I say I never meant to kiss you? But I'm glad I did. I had hoped you wouldn't see my hands shake. In your eyes, I feel like I am somebody worth loving. I am a lie, but that was the truth. The arrow you struck my heart with worked both ways, Monsieur. Again, I don't know how to say that. I have loved you since I was a child. Yeah, so that's where it's a bit weird. And you had to keep this mask on for years, longer than you usually had to. But you see, when you become something for a long time, it imprints on you like a seed. Maybe you liked keeping this face. Your cat died today and we buried it in my garden. You were crying so hard nobody could comfort you. Candies or sweets and bribes never worked. In my desperation, I said, everything dies, as if that was a truth worthy to be told a child. Did you know that the baker's dog also died? Things die, so please don't be upset. Your eyes stared up at me. To my surprise, you began to laugh. Gilly, you are such an idiot. The baker's dog also died. Are you really trying to cheer me up? I shifted uncomfortably in my boots, but your laughter had you in stitches. You took away my love, but you can't take away my memories. Memories falter and fade. When you have lived as long as I have, memories are cheap. Love is cheap, Catherine. So would you please leave me now? I don't want to remember you anymore. I don't want this. Once upon a time, there was a man who lost his heart, so he eats others. I never lost it. I have always been cursed without it. Then take mine. Yours. Take my love with you until the end of time. You'll never go hungry again. That's not true. You hated me at the very end, like everyone else. Well, you ruined my life, so of course I hated you. You lied to me. You used me. But love and hate can be so similar. It's as simple as flipping a coin. But don't give me apathy, Gwillemy. I want my memory to burn as bright as a star in your mind. And this memory I want you to remember me by is not my body hanging lifelessly by a rope. Remember me as the child who loved you. My dear Gwillemy, I love you. I forgive you. An unfamiliar bitterness washed over my tongue. It threatens to sting my eyes with tears, clenching my throat with pain. Curiously, it is a sensation almost foreign in its rarity. Love. Is it possible? Can I love a memory? Can I survive with only your love to give me sustenance? I take a step towards you. Something stirred in my dreamscape, and suddenly you are not there anymore. I see you in the distance, a semblance of your visage upon a grassy hill. I'm already getting tired. The sky is dark. The moon hangs ominously upon your head. Catherine, I should really stop the video and go to an... I will do that. Okay, I will see you in the next one. Bye.